Welcome to this demonstration of the Axiomatics reverse query integration with Oracle Virtual Private Database to achieve fine-grained authorization for databases. In this demonstration, we will write XAML policies that will define which particular rows of a database can be returned based on the user's identity and the user's relationship to the data. The use case we will be using is a police-based scenario where there are criminal cases inside a database assigned to police units, and there are users assigned to police units as well. With Oracle VPD, one can achieve row-level filtering. The filtering is built at the execution time, and VPD allows certain roles to circumvent the authorization mechanism. There are a couple limitations with the approach taken by Oracle Virtual Private Database. First of all, the access control policies are actually encoded within the database server as PL SQL or Java code. In addition to that, the policy functionality is actually distributed across multiple virtual private database functions. This seriously reduces the visibility into which authorization is being applied to the data, and it makes management and maintenance of the authorization particularly difficult. The approach that we will take is to write these authorization policies in a centralized XAML repository that we can use for multiple applications, including the Oracle database. The case we will be illustrating is the following. A confidential police case is visible to all users assigned to the unit to which the case is assigned. We compare the unit of the user with the unit of the case. If these two units are equal, then the user can view the case. Secret or top secret cases are only visible to users who are directly assigned to the case. One can see that there are two levels of relationships, an indirect relationship through the police unit and a direct relationship through the assignment of the case to a user. The resources we're protecting are the rows of the case table. We have a case ID, a case narrative which describes the case, the classification, whether it is confidential, secret, top secret, the unit which is responsible for the case, its status, whether it is open or closed, and eventually the date at which the case was closed. Let's have a look at the first use case and identify the resource attributes. When we state that a confidential case is visible to all users, we use the level of the use case. The level is confidential. In addition, note that we're comparing the unit assigned to the case to the unit of the user. We will read the case classification from the case table. And we will read the unit assigned to the case from the responsible unit column name. We also have what we call synthetic attributes. These are attributes that are derived from a view which collects all the users responsible for a particular case. Note in this example here that the start date and the end date of the case do matter, and we compare it to the current date, here represented by a sysdate. In other words, the list of users that will show are users currently assigned to the case. Let's now focus on subject attributes. We declare that a confidential case is visible to all users assigned to the unit that is responsible for the case. We will be using the user ID subject attribute and the unit ID of the subject. We will read this through the virtual private database function and the ability to read the application context. The application context is set by the initial callout from the client application using the database driver, in this case the Oracle database driver, which lets the application set context so that we can determine what is the identity of the originating requesting user rather than the identity of the application calling the database. Based on that user ID, we can retrieve the role of the user from the database itself. Additional attributes can also be retrieved directly by the Axiomatics reverse query through the use of policy information points that are configured in the embedded policy decision point used by the Axiomatics reverse query. Let's now have a look at the XAML policy. We use here the shorthand notation defined by the alpha language, the Axiomatics language for authorization. Note here that we have two rules. Both rules yield a permit. The first rule matches when the classification of the case is confidential, we compare the integer identity of the responsible unit for the case with the integer identity of the unit to which the user belongs. If the unit of the user is equal to the unit of the case, and if the case classification is confidential, then access is granted to the case. The second rule is extremely similar, but focuses on secret and top secret classification levels. We compare that the user identity integer is in the list of user identities assigned to the case. These two rules are embedded inside a policy where the target checks that the resource type, the table name, is equal to case. Let's now have a look at the demonstration. Let's start by going to the database view inside Chrome. I am now using the Oracle web-based data browser, and what I'm going to do is have a look at the different users that I have. So I'm going to go to the tables. I am going to go now to my gem schema, which contains the tables I'm protecting. I'm going to choose the users table. I'm going to select all the data. And let's have a look at user 1001. Drew is a constable and belongs to the unit ID number 5. Now, in this example, I use a very simple Java application from the command line that will read data for user 1001. Considering that the policies applied do the filtering based on the relationship between the unit of the user and the unit of the case, we should only be able to see cases that belong to unit number 5. Let's check this. Let's enter user ID 1001, which is cat. Notice that the result is actually 3 cases. They all belong to unit number 5. Yet, if I accessed the raw data from the browser, I would see more cases. There are a dozen or so cases in this table. Now, let's choose a separate user, 1003, and notice that the user cannot see the same cases. In this example, we're only seeing cases assigned to unit number 2. But here, there's a difference. Notice that the classification here is secret. Yet, if you remember correctly the rule, it says you can only see a secret case if and only if you're directly assigned to that particular case. So I was acting as user number 1003. Let's go check out case ID 110. Let's check the police role table to see the assignment. Let's click on view data. And let's notice that case 110 here is associated to user 1003. The demonstration we just ran is built as follows. We have a client application, the simple Java app that I ran from the command line inside Eclipse. This client application sends a SQL query through the ODBC driver to the Oracle database server. The Oracle database server is configured to use the Axiomatics reverse query VPD authorization server in the bottom right corner. This authorization server, in turn, is managed by the authorization management component, the Axiomatics Services Manager. In this component, we have defined a group called demo. This group contains a set of policies. You can see the case access. We can view the source. And again, we can see the contents that were expressed in the alpha syntax in the previous slide. Here we can see that we have a rule that says permit for a secret or top secret case. We match either secret or top secret as a classification. And further down, we have a condition. We check that the user identity is in the list of authorized users for that particular case.